You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello there, and welcome back to Wildside, the official Mondo Macabro podcast. My name is Ryan Verrill, here again with Chris Haskell, and once again, the incredible Jared Honor is joining us. Jared, thank you for coming back.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
It's your podcast. We had to let you.
Yeah, it's my podcast that I don't show up for every episode. Sorry about that.
Chris, how you been? You've been a busy man these last few months.
Yeah. It's been fun though. We're having fun at a few different shows that I'm on, and ton of fun online. And there's been some amazing movies coming out. So I haven't slept a lot, trying to watch everything before I die in 50 years. There's too much to watch.
There's never enough time to always too many movies. It's never going to happen.
On a personal note, Jared, you've been showing a lot of love for like modern film and like the New York Times top 10 that everybody was sharing and all that. What have you been watching lately? We don't get to hear a lot about that from you. What have you been excited about?
What have I been watching lately? Oh,
yeah.
God. Last night I watched a almost 3 hour Chinese silent film. So that's fresh on my mind. It's called Love and Duty from like 1931, I think. I saw a couple of years ago, or maybe a couple of years ago, I got there's a Chinese label, Diskino. Mm-hmm. They do their World Cinema Library, and they have like a series of like classic Chinese films, like mainland Chinese films. And they're the most beautiful deluxe releases on the market. Absolutely. There's no one else that compares to how amazing these are. But I haven't gotten around to watching too many of them actually. And just last night, I finally got around to watching Love and Duty from 1931, made from the Shanghai film industry.
31.
So,
jeez.
31. So still making silent movies in 31. So this was silent. A lost film until fairly recently. It was discovered, I think in the Tony Rayns interview that's on the disc, they said it was discovered in Uruguay, of all places.
Wow.
So that, and the movie's pretty good. I am not the biggest silent movie guy. I think they're impressive, but I often find them sleepy. Like they make me sleepy because I have short attention span, and I don't know. Yeah, typical 21st century sort of thing. But I found it very compelling. It was really well. It's just a melodrama. It's sort of like a tragedy sort of story about a woman who is married but falls in love with a man and leaves her husband, and then it all goes bad.
As you do. Yeah.
As you do. And then it all goes bad, as it should, because she should have stayed with her husband and her children.
Yeah.
And it's the star is Ruan Liu. Someone will need to correct me about that, but she was a huge star in Shanghai, and she committed suicide, I think, due to a scandal because of an affair with a married man. The Stanley Kwan movie Center Stage is about her. So this was the first movie I'd seen with her in it. So I thought that was really interesting. Center Stage, I think, is a really fantastic movie with Maggie Cheung. So that's the thing that that's the most recent thing that I've watched.
Well, the other thing is there's a lot of people that follow all the physical media stuff that we always talk about that are just fully against modern movies. Any 2025 films that you've loved this year?
I don't understand the whole I don't ever want to watch modern film. I mean, that's really stupid. Yeah, I think that's dumb. I think it's kind of dumb that people, because there are good movies made from every era. There are good movies made in the 19-teens, and there are good movies made right now. The whole era. I watched less probably overall than and honestly, I have only seen 2 movies this year. I've seen Mickey 17, which I liked, and Sinners, which I absolutely adored. I
Nice.
thought Sinners was fucking fantastic.
Yep.
The most exciting American movie in the last few years, I think.
Nice.
So, but that's it, I think, for new movies that I watched from 2025. I tend at the end of the year, I'll like from a lot of the year-end lists, especially like from Asian movie-centric sites. I'll take those lists and sort of create my own lists and sort of go from there and try to watch whatever, more recent Indian or Korean movie has been out, and there's tons of that kind of stuff, and you can often find them on Netflix or Amazon Prime, that kind of stuff. So those are the 21st century movies I probably watch more than anything else, or is Asian stuff.
Yeah.
Particularly India the last few years.
Nice.
Netflix has a pretty extensive Asian collection that just never gets any attention because unless you're looking for it, it can be hard to just simply stumble across them.
Yeah, but if you put like one movie on your list or watch one thing, then you'll be like you're suggested to will be like, I'm pretty sure they think I am like Tamil or something because like I have tons of recommended Indian films. Or like Korean dramas, because my wife and I will watch those too. So yeah, that sort of annoys me about Netflix. People talk the discourse about Netflix. People, they've got nothing. They've got no movies. Well, maybe they don't have any good, American movies, but there's tons and tons of great Asian stuff. I mean, come on, expand your horizons. And that could lead me on to my complaints about people's New York Times lists. But
what are the complaints?
Just that you would think there were no movies made outside of the United States in the 21st century if you saw any of those lists.
That's true.
That people were putting out. Especially when the number one movie ultimately from the New York Times was an Asian film.
Was an Asian film.
From Korea. Two of the top four, because I think number 4 was In the Mood for Love, which was one of my guesses for what would be number 1. I was sort of surprised about Parasite.
So in my top 10 was The White Ribbon, which I guess was German.
Or Austrian? Or Austrian, isn't it?
Probably maybe Austrian, you could say. Platform, which was mainland China. In the Mood for Love, which is Hong Kong. Oh, Fish and Cat, which is Iranian.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I have yet to see that.
Oh, my God. Wild Boys, which was French, I guess, and then Visitor Q, which is obviously Japanese.
Yeah,
but I did have a
pretty interesting list. That's some things that aren't that's not everyday things you saw on a lot of lists. That's pretty interesting. Right. I saw the same for Ryan for your list was also a few things.
I had The Chaser for some reason that didn't make the top 10 on the New York Times list. I'm shocked.
Yeah, The Wailing wasn't in the fucking top 100, and I am completely flabbergasted. The Wailing is if I had to pick the number one, like the number one 21st century movie would be Memories of Murder. Number 2 would be The Wailing. It's a fucking masterpiece. But The Chaser is really, really great. Have you seen that, Chris? The Chaser?
No.
No? Okay. It's the guy who made The Wailing. If you've seen that, it's his first film.
Wait, the guy that made what? Sorry?
The Wailing, if you've seen that.
No, the guy that made what is his first film?
The Chaser. The guy that made The Wailing, he did The Chaser.
Oh.
I may have. Did I? I might have.
No. I'm sure that's on me. I'm sure.
Well, speaking of that, do you know what's going on with the rights for his films in the U.S. there, Jared? Like, have you ever looked into?
I honestly don't. It's funny, yeah, because neither The Chaser nor The Yellow Sea are available on Blu-ray in the U.S. Yeah. I don't think. I think The Chaser was available on DVD. I think in the U.S.
It was, yeah.
But I bought the Australian release. And then, of course, there's like a UK release of The Yellow Sea and a Korean release of The Yellow Sea. The Yellow Sea is also incredible.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from Na Hong Jin. I need to.
100% success rate for me.
Knowing your taste, Chris, you would literally love every single one of his films.
I'm honestly I'm surprised. I would say, these should be on your radar for sure.
The only one that fits within when I was really hardcore watching movies in theaters would have been The Chaser. After 2010, I've just been at home watching. But anyways, I'll have to check this out. That's a good tip. Thank you. I'm discovering things on the Mondo Macabro podcast.
Wailing has a very
Talking
cheap
about everything
4K
but
out there.
Mondo Macabro, right?
Exactly right. Wailing is
Wailing is a very cheap 4K out there from Wellgo.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I've got that and the Korean Blu-ray release, which is big and deluxe, but has like no special features that are in English, unfortunately. But I actually, honestly, we could just do a podcast about the Wailing, and we can. That would be fine with me. We don't even have.
It would be like an 8-episode series, and would be
it
amazing.
would be. Yeah.
We could do a commentary track that gets out. See if it gets
Why
picked up for the next release.
It's a long movie. It'll be a long recording.
It's like a full 3 hours long, that one.
Oh yeah.
Well, not talking about Mondo Macabro. Let's get back to that. It's been I won't say quiet because it's not been super long since the last double feature of releases came out, which were both double features. How's the reception been to that last bundle?
Pretty good. They're not necessarily setting sales charts on fire, but that's okay. We didn't really expect that. But I think especially for the Eva Man release, there's been a really warm reception to it. I think the people are reacting to it the way we hoped they would. It's fun and interesting, if nothing else, sort of a nice anecdote to a lot of the more toxic discourse about trans identity that's in the media right now. And it's just funny that these, movies from the early 80s, I mean, this is, there have been trans people forever. There have always been trans people. And here's an example. And they're just fun, great movies. And I think a lot of people are sort of vibing on that. And, even some people I didn't really necessarily think would necessarily vibe with them. I've just been talking about how much they enjoyed them and how fun they were. I mean, they're not masterpieces by any means, but they're really, really neat little movies. And so it's been nice to see some positive reaction to them out there. I would like for there to be a little bit more. Like I think I say that every time when we talk about one of our releases, but it's nice to see. And, and I'm happy that it has sold as well as it has sold. So still got a few hundred copies left of the limited edition. If anyone out there hears this and gets the gumption, it's at our Big Cartel. You can just Google Mondo Macabro Big Cartel. It'll come right up. It's fun. And if you're waiting for a retail release, I think we're a couple of months away from putting that in. We just want to give the limited edition a little bit more time, but yeah.
Nice. Speaking of retail releases, everybody seems to be pretty happy that Cafe Flesh is finally going to be getting its release. And then Bohachi Bushido. You got a couple others that are about to drop, I believe, right? Something around there?
Yeah, I think so. We have the Blu-ray releases of Bohachi Bushido, Cafe Flesh, and Girl Slaves of Morgana Le Fay, which we discussed on the last time I was here. We sort of went in depth on all those movies. Just the Blu-rays, though. So the UHD of Cafe Flesh is coming next. UHDs, we will be putting out retail UHDs of Bohachi Bushido and Girl Slaves just a little bit further down the road. We wanted to make sure that the limited editions of those, sold out. Bohachi Bushido will sell out any day now. Honestly, it's very close. Morgana Le Fay has a little bit to go, but so we're sort of giving those again a little bit more time. But those are coming. If anyone is curious, if anyone's been wondering, but Cafe Flesh should be announced any day now. I just QC'd the covers for those to make sure they're so that and The Punishment from the Halloween slate from last year will also finally be making its retail debut with a retail safe cover. we had a hard time. Like, we submitted something to our distributor and they were like, "Ooh, no, go back. Give us something else."
Well, speaking of that, though, there's an inevitable retail edition of Eva Man.
Yes. Yeah. It will have a different cover.
Okay.
Then I'm honestly really surprised that we haven't got it in more trouble for that cover.
Because
You're really,
everybody
I mean,
feels like,
it's a vulva. I mean, it is, unsubtle.
yeah, but that cover's
Um,
fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. I don't know what the cover. It's funny. It's funny though. I got slammed on Facebook. They nearly shut us down because of the Eva Man covers, but not that cover. It was the return. Is the flip side, the Return of Eva Man cover that has a tiny little cartoon woman with little tiny nipples, little tiny pinpoint nipples. They shut us down over that. They removed that image. They gave us this big warning spiel about that. But the vagina cover was fine.
I just had to go look that up. The other side is not even.
No,
It's tiny.
yeah. It's really weird. I don't know. Part of me wonders if it was somebody who had a beef with us, was like, look at this, look, there's nipples, and submitted it, and there was an issue, because I don't even know how their algorithms would catch that, to be honest. It's so ridiculous, and it's what are you gonna do?
To be fair, if I was going to guess on an AI algorithm that was trained for a female part, like a part of the female anatomy, I would assume that it's better trained for nipple than actual labia.
Probably, because that's probably a bit easier to feed into. That's some interesting language we're using here.
And just like quantity of nipples, you're right. Like there's just more that it's probably seen at this point.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, they are notorious nipple haters at Facebook. So, even cartoon nipples, I guess at this point, little period at the end of a sentence nipples on a cartoon woman with, it's so dumb. So those will probably have different covers for the retail edition. I don't know what I haven't talked with Pete yet about what that's going to look like, but I'm guessing there'll be something different. Yeah.
This is an amazing conversation.
We always go in very interesting directions when we all get together.
Wild side.
It is the wild side. We talked about the last bundle, and you have been sharing some stuff all over the internet, Blu-ray.com forums. Everybody's getting excited about a couple titles coming up, like Mystic Symboli, Queen of Black Magic. Anything you want to talk about for those?
No, nothing that hasn't already been revealed. Just that those will be for our Halloween slate. So the plan is now to, have those as part of our just regular Halloween slate. But we're sort of, I think I went into this a little bit the last time too, is we're sort of very conscious of making sure that there's not another delay. So the plan is for those to be Halloween slate. If for some reason it seems like they won't be ready, then we may have to change that up a little bit and maybe just have the Halloween sale be a sale and we put them, on pre-order a month later or something. I don't know. But the plan right now, and everything seems to be going okay, is for those to be part of the Halloween slate. And currently that slate is going to be 5 releases.
Wow.
So 5 releases with 6 movies.
Wow.
One of which with at least 2 versions of one movie.
Jeez.
At least 2 UHDs, possibly 3 UHDs.
Oh yeah.
So that's. I mean, it's a big slate, and so, in fact, I mean, it's sort of one of the reasons why I wanted for us to record this episode, is so we could sort of talk about what our upcoming schedule is, because we're going to be kind of a little bit quiet for a little while. I think we would be having probably a pre-order right about now, but we rearranged our release schedule to hopefully facilitate the Halloween sale at the end of the year and not a big delay. So we sort of shifted a few things around, a couple of things to next year, and we've shifted what was going to be the pre-order for now, probably for next month, and it will be 4 titles instead of 3. That's the plan.
Wow.
So yeah. So and then that's August, shipping in August and September, and then the the Halloween stuff, hopefully again, on sale at the end of October, but probably still shipping not till January, just because shipping in November and December sucks. So.
Well, I mean, even that is remarkable. Talking about like a sparse and quiet rest of the year, but you're working on 9 films theoretically.
Yeah. And it's like looking at the schedule, like, I was going to say, are there any double features for that August thing? No, they're not. So it's just 4 films, four releases, 4 films.
Or 10 films even. Did I get that wrong? Halloween was 6 films?
6 films. Oh, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so six releases.
Jeez.
So for Halloween, I think the ones we revealed are Black Magic, Queen of Black Magic, Mystic Symboli, and Devil's Nightmare. Devil's Nightmare UHD. So we have another UHD. It's an upgrade from a Blu-ray. I'll leave that mysterious. And then another sort of fun, sort of much requested sort of 60s Spanish horror monster thing. That'll have to remain mysterious as well. But it's one of those things that sort of fans of like old school Euro horror and drive-in stuff have been clamoring for a number of years. I see it requested quite a lot. So that's something. And then the big one for me, and again, this is just a tease, the big one for me is that we are finally, after years of however long Mondo Macabro has been alive, has been in business, 10 years at least before I got involved, we've always wanted to do a Hong Kong horror film, an early 80s Hong Kong horror film. Mm-hmm. And we finally got one, and it's a great one. And so we're working on that right now. That's a big project that I'm working on right now. Especially with the guy that's helping us out, who's really doing a lot of hard work. And I'll be able to talk about that more when we get there. But I'm really excited. I don't know if anyone else will be excited when it comes out, but I love the movie. And it's just something that's only been available in like crappy VHS or VCDs with, a cropped picture and really fuzzy nth generation bootlegs kind of a deal. And it's just amazing to see it like cleaned up. Even like I've not seen full HD. I've just seen sort of low res screeners of some of the restored footage. It's just amazing. It's the kind of thing that makes me, I get excited all over again for just working in this business, for seeing that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's a tease. So hopefully that gets people excited about what we have coming up. We'll see.
Speaking on behalf of everybody, that I always love seeing comment when we post that the podcast is up, and people are always excited about like the behind the scenes stuff. What is the reason for not being able to do Hong Kong horror before now? What has been the delay? What has been any issues theoretically for the US?
This goes back to like the 90s. Pete wrote the book Mondo Macabro and did a lot of research on stuff. And Pete's been around the world and he traveled around the world. He would even go to film markets and try to talk to people and try to talk to licensors and find licensors for particular films. And he just always came up like no one knew anything. I think that it was a very sort of like, especially after the handover to the mainland, there was just this sort of down period for Hong Kong sales, especially for movies from the early 80s to the West. So for whatever reason, Pete could either just not find who owned a movie, or maybe if they found him, he just couldn't find materials. And so that's luck just sort of extended to me when I started looking and started asking. And obviously other people have had better luck. Like Vinegar Syndrome with the release of Devil Fetus. So Devil Fetus was something I when I first started working for Mondo Macabro like 10 years ago, that was on my list. And I sent an email to the Fortune Star, the company that represents rights. They just would never answer my emails. I don't know. I did finally actually get an answer, and they told me I think they just told me they didn't have it, which was not true. I think that was what happened. So I don't know. It's just weird bad luck. I was really interested in centipede horror and tried looking for a little bit for that, and then Error 444 like pulled it out. I don't know. Those young guys, they got it going on. They announced Challenge of the Lady Ninja, which was another movie I actually talked to someone about, and they quoted me some obscene dollar amount, and I was like, well, would you take 10 times less? And they were like, no. No, not at all. But apparently the Error 44 guys, found a way to make that work, and big props to them. Great label.
Well, they still haven't released it, so we'll see.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, and in some ways, I'm not surprised because it's an area, and that's the other thing is that it's an area it's problematic due to a lot of poor storage in Hong Kong and in Taiwan. Especially for a long time, they were not as good about film preservation as maybe they are now. There's the Hong Kong Film Archive, and there's like the Taiwan Audio Visual Institute or something like that basically serves as their sort of official film archive.
Yeah, there's a label called Connie. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they
absolutely, yeah, good friends with him. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. They lovely people, but they talk about the Philippines have some similar issues with preservation, and there's some one of the labs they recently shut down. So there's hopefully, yeah, good.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's another area. I mean, we've obviously done a few. Filipino films, but that's it's a meager amount compared to how many we've wanted to do over the years, and it's the same thing. It's tropical countries. Yeah. It's hard to preserving film requires a lot of time, effort, and money, especially in countries where it's harder to preserve stuff. It requires a lot of energy to be used to keep them cool, basically.
And moisture is as bad or worse than just pure heat, right?
It's terrible. Yeah. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. Mold is going to be a big problem. Yeah. It's just that film is a very, very fragile thing. Mm-hmm. And especially when you take it, a lot of these movies were considered trash in the sense that they were easily disposable.
Right.
Like, I mean, and that's the same all over the world. That's the same with, like the stuff that Something Weird released from the US. These movies, like, they were amazed to discover that as many films still existed as they do. Right. But it's because these were considered disposable things, the stuff that would just get out there, play for a few weeks, maybe even, and then on. And, maybe someone would hold on to a print or even the negative, but more than likely they wouldn't. It just because nobody thought anyone would ever care. Mm-hmm. And now we've come, now we're in, a quarter of the way through the 21st century and people care a lot. I mean, it's as exciting it's as exciting as, I talked about Love and Duty, the Chinese film. I mean, it's incredible that a Chinese silent film, a lot of which are lost, still survives. It's almost just as incredible that movies from the early 80s in some of these places still exist, especially from places like the Philippines and Hong Kong and India and places like that. I mean, it is miraculous. And they're just as, Mystics in Bali is just as important in my mind as Love and Duty or anything else, or a silent Ozu film, from Japan. It's just as important. They're just as exciting. And, and you can, sell them. There's absolutely an audience for these kind of things. Yeah. So it's exciting to be able to do that now. And that's a very long-winded sort of answer is what the problem, why is it taking us so long to do Hong Kong horror? And that's it's sort of all those things. A lot of it is kind of just bad luck on our part because other people have been able to do it. But it's finally happening and I couldn't be more pleased. That was one of my goals when I first started working for Mondo Macabro was like the missing piece of the puzzle for Mondo Macabro. Because honestly, my interest in Hong Kong cinema comes from the Mondo Macabro book. Like, I liked Wong Kar-wai going back, but I had seen The Killer by John Woo, and I really didn't like it back in the 90s. Like, I didn't like, so it's sort of like I sort of ignored Hong Kong movies for years. But it was reading the Mondo Macabro book and reading about all the black magic movies, especially, that really piqued my interest. And it was always something, well, why hasn't Mondo Macabro ever done any, what the label, why hasn't it ever done any? And that was one of my goals when I first started working, was to try and get one. And it's only taken 10 years, like 10 years this year, to finally get one. And it's going to be a big project. Like I say, we've got 2 different cuts of this film, one of which has basically never been seen. So,
well, Jared, when roughly, if things go right, let's say happy path, as they say in the IT world, what's the happy path for when we could see this if everything goes right?
See that Hong Kong horror film? Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully as part of the Halloween slate. So,
okay.
So yeah, so on sale at the end of October. I mean, we've signed we have the film, we've got the rights locked down, we've got materials. We just this last week finalized, because there are some missing scenes for one of these cuts, and the guy who's helping us out located a print that has everything that we need. Now it's not going to look as nice as the stuff from the negative, because it's from a print and it has like burned in subtitles, like so many Hong Kong movies do. But so we've got everything for it. I'm working on extras right now. It's not going to have a ton of extras, but it's going to have some things. So the only thing is, if it takes a little bit longer to do some of the restorative work on this footage from the 35 millimeter print, we may have to shuffle it off to next year. I'm hoping that isn't the case, because I would like to see it. I would like to see it done as soon as possible. So hopefully, the Halloween sale at the end of October will have that as part of our new release pre-order slate, shipping in January. So
hell yeah.
To get kind of sentimental for a moment, working with a bunch of these labels, it's always interesting to hear somebody's like behind the scenes. This is the one thing, like not like a Disney title that people know will never be possible, but something like this that is just, no, damn it, I want to do one of these things. And like watching you gush on Facebook when you finally got this was one of my like, oh, I'm so happy for Jared moments.
I know. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that it is, that it makes an impression, my reaction to it, because I also feel kind of silly. And I felt I had to mention that in that Facebook post, was like, there's a lot of shitty things going on in the world. So you take your joy and you take your victories where you can, right? So this for me is a victory. It's a one small step in achieving, the goals that I set out to achieve with Mondo Macabro.
Awesome.
So, and I don't want to stop there. I want to keep doing, I mean, hopefully people don't think that there's too much Hong Kong stuff out there, because it's not all just kung fu movies and pistol operas. There's so much more that Hong Kong cinema has to offer.
Yeah.
I like, just the other week, I possibly got clued into another licensor with some really interesting stuff.
Nice.
That's, I can't say anything more about that, but like one of the films is like something that's unusual for Hong Kong cinema. That's not a pistol opera, and it's not even like one of these sort of gross out horror movies. It's something sort of different. That is a movie that I absolutely love, and is still Mondo Macabro fare. So, it's an area that I dearly, dearly love, and I hope the people that like our stuff are kind of willing to go along with this. And hopefully it does go on. I mean, it could end up being that this one we do and how we're doing now is the only one for a while. You never know, because there's such a dire situation, again, as I said, with materials. So you just never know. But hopefully, more to come.
Pretty much guarantee, it sounds like.
Yeah. I'm going to keep trying. And that's just it, is both Pete and I are very like, we set our minds on something, and we're going to keep going
Yeah.
at it until we do it. So,
Well, and the reality is it's not going to not sell. I mean, right now, Asian films are like the golden ticket for everyone, which is crazy.
yeah, I know it's fun. I love to see it. It's like I think I've said before, like the Japanese and Indonesian stuff is outselling the European stuff for us right now, which is weird and not something even 4 or 5 years ago I would have expected. So it's really interesting to see. Now it seems like a lot of the stuff that is really popular is the more action oriented, which is sort of interesting because again, 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said only horror is the stuff that's really going to sell. But I think the market has changed a lot, and you see like the kung fu stuff, especially seems to be. Honestly, I'm sick to death of kung fu. I hate to say that, but I really am, and I want to see so much more. But it's great to see that it still sells and that people get excited about it. So hopefully people will get excited about what we have. So.
Well, I think there's still a lot in the back catalog to get excited about. Chris and I both prepared a title to talk about. Chris, you want to tell us about the movie you want to discuss today?
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to finally officially talk about this movie because it was one of the early films that made me discover the Mondo Macabro name. 1981, 81, there's in the Philippines, there's a film festival put on by, I think, the president's wife, I believe. And they were really trying to promote Filipino cinema. And they were very excited about this because they were going to promote the amazing art coming out of the Philippines. And the only film that got signed from that festival and for international distribution was a Bond spoof with a 2'9" hero called Wang Wang. And this mortified the leadership of the Philippines. And the movie's called For Your Height Only. And it is a movie that's very difficult to talk about without getting a little bit offensive. But man, is it fun. Man, is it a funny movie. And I am so happy it's in the Mondo Macabro catalog.
Yeah, it's a classic. That's sort of been a staple of our catalog for years now. Just the most amazingly stupid fun you can have. The dubbing on this movie, is just gold. It's just like every line is just gold.
Yep. I was watching it again, not for the first time in preparation for this, and I was struck this time by if you were to take a 2'9" action hero and try to create some realistic choreography that would sort of put him in a position to be able to knock out grown adults, they did a pretty good job. They were smart about the way they used his body in the movie. Obviously there's a lot of famous shots around him just being creative with the different ways he can hit people in the nuts.
Or bite him on the butt.
Bite him on the butt. But there's even some clever things like he'll grab a hold of a gun and like flip around and kick him in the face, or there's just different things. And there was one moment that really made me like, I was like, damn, that's pretty clever. Like he had a giant shotgun that he used to get a guy on the roof. But this gun was longer than he was tall, right? And so naturally there's going to be some kickback from that. And this man flew backwards like 5 feet when he shot the weapon. I was like, hey, it's like way to be accurate with that.
It is, yeah. It's a very realistic film, practically cinema verite. Yeah, it's really a very strange artifact. And have you seen the documentary, The Search for Wang Wang?
I was going to bring that up. So yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Fascinating character. But I haven't seen the rest of his movies. Like he had a few other ones that he made around that time. I couldn't really, I don't know. I haven't seen any other ones.
Yeah. What is it? I'm trying to remember the one that I've seen most recently. It was included on the DVD release of The Search for Wang Wang.
There's just Agent 00, which came out, I think, right before this.
Yeah, and the Impossible Kid is one, and then I think the one that I'm thinking is called The Wild Wild Wang or something like The Wild Wild West, but it's The Wild Wild
Yeah,
Wang.
the Wild Wild Wang. Yes.
And it was fucking fantastic. It's really, really funny. I was kind of drunk. I'm going to admit that when I watched it. So details of it are kind of a little bit fuzzy, but I just adored it. And I would advocate being drunk for almost any Wang Wang film that you watch. It's the mindset to get into. But just really, really fun, really bizarre. And a little bit of a different feel because For Your Height Only was purchased to the West, and it was dubbed in Italy. So you hear a lot of the same voices that you hear in like 70s Italian films. So it gives it this very unique feel. But the other ones are just like dubbed in Hong Kong or whatever.
Awesome.
So they have this different feel, and I think maybe the editing has been slightly tightened up on For Your Height Only, so it's a bit slicker. So it's kind of fun to watch some of the others that have that are a little bit rougher feel to them, but just so much fun, so much fun. And the guy is honestly charismatic. He really is like a really great little performer.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't just say great little performer. That's all. Just a great performer.
Well, that's the uncomfortable thing about promoting this movie, right? How do you do it in like a respectful way? Because
not with a short film.
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice.
I do want to throw out there for people maybe that have seen this before, because I know right now we're really recommending this for people that have never seen it, but for those that have happened to come across, and I knew that we were going to be doing this for the last couple of weeks, was just randomly listening to another podcast hosted by a dude I know named Andy Nelson. It's called the CinemaScope Podcast, and it's this really well-researched, he tries to get someone who's at least a borderline expert, and I only qualify that because I'm on one episode and I'm certainly not an expert in anything, but he gets somebody that knows a lot about one topic or wrote a book or something, and he just did a topic that he called remake exploitation, which it actually is not being interpreted as like, let's discuss Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 or anything like that. Right. It is mostly about ripoffs and things that are other countries remaking films. And so this gets a mention. There's a long discussion on like Turkish Star Wars. There are like dramas that have been remade that people have never heard of. And a lot of these things, there's just a really interesting context and discussion to be had on when the trademark laws were a little more relaxed and we just saw people taking advantage of them. But this is a really great example of it's technically a ripoff, but also they're just doing their own thing, and it's a fucking blast. I love this movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you're right. It could very easily fit into that sort of remake exploitation subgenre. But yet, is there really? I mean, James Bond never kicked somebody in the nuts or, bit them on the bum after diving between their legs. On screen, at least. It has its own feel for sure. Yeah. That's a really fascinating area. The sort of unofficial foreign remakes of films. And the Philippines there were tons and tons of them. I mean, there's like a James Bond meets either James Bond versus Batman or James Bond versus Dracula, I think, or something like that. And they made their own Bruceploitation movies, and they, all kinds of stuff. There were lots of superhero stuff. That's the thing you get a lot of. It's like Batman and Superman stuff.
Spider-Man was big too.
Yes, yeah. If anyone has ever seen Uch Devadam or Three Mighty Men, the Turkish film, which is Captain America and Santo, the master wrestler, team up to fight an evil Spider-Man who's a crime boss for some reason, and decapitates people with like outboard motors from a boat. Yeah.
God bless everything we're talking about. I love this whole, but see, that's like, you can watch that making fun of it for sure. I think but like, those movies honestly are where I love them so much. Like,
yeah. There's great energy. I mean, these people knew what they were doing. They weren't stupid. They knew that they were having fun with what they were doing, and knew that they had meager means, but it didn't matter. There's this great energy, especially the Turkish stuff has this just amazing energy to it. It is. You can just laugh at it. You can. No, why not? Life is short. Who cares? Fuck it. Just laugh at something. But there is a deeper understanding. If you can go into it, and it doesn't have to have a deeper understanding of the film itself, which is very, it has a very shallow sort of narrative emphasis here and there. But it is the sort of social, historical, generic contexts behind all of it are really interesting and is complex. Like every culture is complex, and every film industry has its own complexities. Mm-hmm. So but you can just, it is funny. For Your Height Only is funny. And we should be able to laugh at it.
And it was made at a comedy. Yeah. Like it was made as a comedy, right? So there's humor built into it. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to discern the intentional versus the unintentional, but you have to assume that they're going in there knowing what they're doing as well. The reason I started with that story is about the film festival. Is that story made me laugh about as hard as the movie itself, just because I can only imagine at the time they were trying to show the world, all this amazing art coming out of the country, and must have been like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I mean, they probably have like Lino Bracco movies, exactly. Mike DeLeon, like all these like legitimate like auteurs, like true intellectuals making really fantastic films. Yep. And it's Wang Wang that is the thing that sells. Yeah. Which is a perfect encapsulation of especially the sort of, anything goes international film distribution, especially of like the late 70s and early 80s, especially like the end of the sort of Grindhouse drive-in era heading into the VHS era. There was just so much wacky, wonderful stuff sold all over the world. And, unfortunately, less an audience in, Pasadena, California for Lino Bracco. That's just going to be how things go, But thank God, because then that helps preserve some of these films.
Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. Do you, I know you can't talk about For Your Height Only specifically. Generally speaking, are there opportunities for more Filipino movies to come out from Mondo Macabro? Because they do have kind of an interesting exploitation history in general, right? With the Dick Randall stuff and the Roger Corman and like just the different people that were over there anyway. So any chance that there's going to be more movies coming down the pike?
I'd say a chance. Yeah, it's difficult. So a lot of the problems I was just talking about with Hong Kong are like, it's almost tenfold in the Philippines, mm-hmm. and it's a really sad situation that so many films have been lost.
Right.
But we are always pursuing projects. Do you guys know the Zuma films? Do you know that? Zuma? It's like this it's like a very comic booky horror thing. It's like this big green guy, and he's got a giant double-headed snake that comes off of his shoulders, right? We've been looking into those movies and have come like this close, like half a dozen times. Okay. But they just always keep then slipping away. Either someone like the rights get sold off, or and then we can't get in touch with the person who just has the rights, or there's materials like go missing. It's just, or someone who says, "Oh yeah, we have that," and then they don't. It's been sort of a chasing our tail sort of a thing forever with those. But I mean, that's always in the back of our head. We want to do the Zuma films because they're really great. There's a project. I can't do anything more than tease. There's a long-term project that was brought to us by Andrew Leovold, our good friend Andrew Leovold, who is the director of the film and the writer of the book, The Search for Wang Wang. He is, the Western world's foremost expert on, low budget Filipino, especially action movies. And so there's a project he's brought to us that is possible. It just is a matter of like us all working out the time to sort of inspect the materials. There are materials that exist, and essentially the films are older, so I think potentially they are officially, because of Filipino copyright law, are officially in the public domain. So it's not like a matter of rights necessarily. I think those are all like 60s films, but really interesting stuff that's never been seen before.
Wow.
That is a long-term project, though, that's, down the road, but is something that's definitely in the back of my mind because I want to see it happen.
Cool.
But it's a tough area. Now, like you mentioned Connie earlier, now Connie is doing a bunch of those.
Yep.
Some of the more intellectual films, some of the more sort of art house films, but genre fans can, I think, find a lot to love. There's one that they released, I think, last year called Kisep Mata.
Yeah.
It's absolutely one of the best movies I've seen this year.
Yeah.
From like 1981 or 2 or 3, something like that. Like a true crime thing. It's not a typical horror film, but it's like the main like antagonist in it is the scariest character in a film I've seen in a long time. It's heart-stopping at times. And so I can't recommend that high enough. And I can't recommend, as far as like putting up and, telling other people you should look at what a label is doing. Connie is almost always right at the top for me for telling people that. Always pay attention to what they're doing. They're doing stuff no one else is doing. So.
I love that. I do the same thing. I promote them every chance I get. Ryan's tired of me talking about them.
Not at all. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
They're, this isn't going to turn into like an OCN podcast or anything, but they have so many partner labels. There's kind of something for everybody. But Connie is one of, 4 or 5 that I don't even care what the title is. It's an immediate add to cart. I know that I'm going to love it. Their curation is spot on. It's just like Mondo Macabro. I know that I will at least walk away with a lot of interest in something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And anyone here who's listening but hasn't picked up some of their Filipino releases, that's some of the best stuff they've done.
And they have one of the best titles in Tagalog as well, which is Kakabakaba Kaba.
Right. Yeah. Easy for you to say.
I know, right? Yeah, it's just fun. Anyways, so Mondo Macabro. Ryan, what's the movie?
yeah, that's not the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. So my title, in 1971, there was a film festival. I'm just kidding. I don't have a story like Chris does. No, this was inspired by, again, the comment section on Mondo Macabro stuff, because it seems like no matter what, when you're teasing something getting announced in the future, you're going to get at least 7.3 is about the over-under line. Comment saying, is there going to be a Giallo? And remembering the days of Jolly not being released by every label under the sun so that they're all available at the moment. One that is still available from Mondo Macabro that I love is The Fox with the Velvet Tail.
Yeah.
This is a 1971 movie that is Italy and Spanish co-production that, I don't know, there's something just super like homey and vibey about this movie. I'm one of those people that sometimes can just get lost in a film score, and this movie specifically is one that you can like, I don't know, feel like you're hanging out just with a bunch of intellectuals, and the score is, man, I just feel smarter being around these people and hearing this music. And I mean, it's beautifully shot. It is one of those movies that you just go like, where did they just happen upon the most beautiful spot in the world to make this super weird movie? And it's a genuinely good story. It's compelling. It's well acted. Like, it is a classic Mondo Macabro story that most people probably never would have just happened upon a film and go, oh, The Fox with the Velvet Tail. That sounds like the most I have to watch that right now movies. But genuinely, you watch it and you go, well, shit, now I have to tell 3 people about this because they should all see this movie too. And it's incredible the catalog you guys have put together with stuff like this.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, you mentioned the title being maybe something that isn't. I feel we probably should have called it In the Eye of the Hurricane, which is one of the alternate titles. It's a bit catchier sounding. But at the time, I don't know why. We just thought that we liked that title. But
But like the real ones are going to be excited about a movie called A Fox with a Velvet Tail. Right?
the real, yes.
Title.
And I think honestly, we put it out at the same time as the Latvian film Spider, and so I think maybe we were just like, oh, it's our animal double feature. Stupid, but yeah. And what I would like to riff for a second on your comment about the location. And it's true, it's a gorgeous location, and man, isn't that one of the neat things about like these, especially the 70s and early 80s European films, is that they got these I mean, these are all like, that's somebody's real fucking villa, you know. It's like, and it's amazing. And like, that's the thing. Jess Franco was like a genius at getting so many, like, those are like real weird locations, real mansions that he was filming in. Like, it's so fascinating to me that the weird connections that have to exist for these to have, like, you know, just, it's some wealthy playboy, some wealthy, you know, heir to a fortune. He's not even using this villa right now in you know, in the south of France. So go ahead, make a movie there. Maybe send one of the girls that's in it over to me, and that's all. You know, literally, I think that's a lot of how that stuff would happen. And it's so fun, and I get very excited, like, looking at that and just thinking about the sort of milieu that existed at the time for this to happen. So I just wanted to mention that, because that you're spot on. It's a wonderful location in that movie. It's very beautiful, and you know, likely, you know, it was probably just someone, the producer or the director, they knew someone who, again, would just say, "Oh yeah, I'm not using this right now. Go ahead and use it." So it's just amazing what these low budget filmmakers could do with the meager means at hand. You know, and often that is, you know, through connections. But what great connections to have. And that's one of the beauties, absolute beauty things about European genre cinema, is just the beautiful locations, the beautiful people, you know, everything. It's just, I love it. I love it.
And let's be honest, I'm not going to claim to be bisexual, but if I was ever going down that path, it might start with John Sorrell. You what?
I know where you're going with this. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it might start with John Sorrell, because holy hell, that
handsome man. Yeah, I'm in the same boat, but you know, who could deny what a good-looking human being Jean Sorrell is?
Yeah, wildly attractive.
Yeah.
I love this movie, and again, not enough people talk about this. It's not Halloween time yet, but just as a random back of your mind thought, if you don't have the standard for this one yet, you should probably add it to your list. It's for sure worth a watch.
It's great. And just as a movie in and of itself, sort of apart from its attractive, you know, people and locations, it is a very smart, twisty little film. The director, let me see, Jose Maria Forqué.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a ton of his movies. We released one other movie that he did. It's Nothing Mama, Just a Game, which I also really like a lot. I think that one, it's a bit uncomfortable because there's like a woman who's sort of very mistreated throughout the whole thing. And so, you know, some people may, you know, that's just not going to be their cup of tea, and to fully understand that.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I sort of enjoy very dark, you know, entertainment. So I think that is a really great movie. And that has got, you know, David Deep Red Hemmings in it. David Blow Up Hemmings in it, and it gives a really great sweaty performance.
Yeah,
and I think shot in Colombia or Venezuela. Unique sort of. There was a sort of a unique sort of time period where Spanish films were being shot in that area, including another one of his movies. It's in the Emmanuel set that Severin did, A Woman from a Hot Country, which I watched earlier this year for the first time.
Good connection. Yeah.
And I really liked it. It's an unusual film. It's not going to blow anyone's mind. But I really liked it. I thought it had a very unique sort of atmosphere, a unique sort of well done narrative. Laura Gemser, of course, is in it and is really, really great.
Yep.
And wait, it's like Stuart Whitman is the faded Hollywood star who's the male lead. It's always fun to see faded Hollywood actors show up in these movies. That's one of the kind of joys of European trash cinema. So great. So an interesting director with obviously a sort of point of view and some real intelligence, and making stuff that's a little bit different, has a little bit of twist in the tail to it.
Yeah, but this is what I like so much. Like, right, there's a director from Mexico called Juan Lopez Moctezuma, which famous for Alucarda, but is getting some love right now. And there are these directors that are just maybe underseen but prolific. Like, this is a great example. Like, this is not some fly-by-night director. Jose Maria Forqué made 50 movies. Is credited for over 50 movies. So this is like a very accomplished, this was his career. It's not like some fluke, So I love that these people are getting attention as well.
It's a good time for it. With all these labels, I think I mentioned on here that like early last year, I did a count worldwide, and I was sitting somewhere at around 150 active boutique labels, which is just insanity to think about.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was at the time. I know that there's at least a handful that have shuttered, but I mean, even just literally the day that we're recording this was the launch of one that you and I have talked about before, Jared, the Cloud Door over in the UK, looking at South Asian cinema. So, I mean, we're still getting brand new boutique labels popping up pretty much out of nowhere. And what's crazy is there's still so much untapped wells that theoretically could be delivered to everybody. But yeah, the elements are going to be an issue, rights are going to be an issue, and finding an audience, because if people aren't buying them, there's nothing that people can do. You got to survive. And people can't just do this out of the goodness of their own heart as much as we'd all want to. It's just, you got to be able to pay for these things. They cost a lot of money.
Yeah, it is sort of a worry for us sometimes that there's a sort of glut in the market. Not that, that there's a lot of people just releasing dross, and that's just it, that there's a lot of people releasing really interesting and cool stuff. So it's something we sort of worry about, I think, just because we're sort of a long-lived label that, and there's all these sort of young whippersnappers that are coming up, and it gets harder to, like I talked about Error 444, snapping up some things that, I'd gone after and failed miserably to get. So it's a concern, but at the same time, as a fan, I mean, I love to see it. You like that Cloud Door thing you mentioned. I mean, that's an area that's, really, really untapped is South Asian cinema. There seems to be, again, I don't know how, I don't think it'll ever be as popular as like Hong Kong stuff or Japanese stuff, but there's more and more of that stuff coming out. And I think one thing to get excited about is Sholay just got a 4K restoration, which, I mean, if anyone... hopefully if you're listening to a Mondo Macabro podcast, you know what Sholay is. It's the most important Bollywood film. It's like the biggest Bollywood film ever. And it's just an amazing, great spaghetti Western inspired film, So it's gotten a big 4K restoration and is premiering over in Italy right now, or it just did recently for that big, wherever that, I can't remember where it happens, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yep. And in fact, I think it got mentioned in my in the podcast I did with the Cloud Door guys. I think they were hyping it up too. Oh,
is that right? Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, cool. And you interviewed them. That's really neat too. I haven't seen that yet. I'll need to check that out. So hopefully, that is something that's probably requires a Criterion or an Arrow to go after. But I hope they do. And if they do, that could really, I think, turn a lot of people on to Indian cinema, South Asian cinema in general, because it's just a crowd pleaser, no matter who you are. very, very exciting. That's one area that I think is got a lot of growth potential. Potentially is Indian cinema. There's for one thing, there's just so damn much of it, so much of it that is fun and is great. But again, there's the downsides that we've talked about before. Same with the Philippines, same with Taiwan and Hong Kong. Is that film preservation is a huge issue there.
Yep.
As well as just the crazy amount of films that are made. So literally, like, there's just no room to store. I mean, because they make, and have always made several hundred films a year,
Right.
all throughout the country in different languages and everything. So it's
from all
a difficult area, but I think it's nice to see there be more physical HD releases out there now.
All right, so to bring this in for a close, for a lot of people that are into the limited editions, are there any titles that are on the brink of being gone soon, if people want to jump on those quicker than not?
Yeah, the one that's the most on the brink right now is the limited edition of Bohachi Bushido. Okay. At the time of recording, and who knows what it'll be like when this actually comes out, there's only 10 copies left.
Ooh.
So 10 copies of this. That slipcover is going away forever, featuring that unique Justin Coffey art. And this is the only place that'll ever be available, and the booklet that's in it from Mark Schilling, Japanese film expert. So that is the thing that's most on the edge. And in fact, who knows, by the time this comes out in a couple of days, it may be gone. So if you hear this and then race over there, then sorry. Few other things. Let's see. I've only got 100 left of the Sex Apocalypse, the Spanish softcore thing with Lena Romay and Gita Wilson.
Nice.
Only 32 left of Fata Morgana. So not many. Shadow of Death has got 37 remaining as of this. So very, very close. Only 94 of Sinister Dr. Orloff, which is always, I love the Sinister Dr. Orloff, and it's always baffled me that this one doesn't sell well. Really great early 80s Franco take on the Orloff thing from his Golden Films period, which is some of his most interesting movies are from that period. And I think this is one of them. It's kind of great. It sort of gets a sort of lukewarm write up in the Stephen Thrower book about it. I don't know if maybe that's colored people's impressions, but he's wrong. Sorry, Stephen. Sorry, Stephen. So that's let's make that one sell out during the Halloween sale. Come on, people. You want to buy Sinister Dr. Orloff.
Okay.
And I think that's about it. As close. Apocalypse After. Chris, I know you're a big fan of that one. Still like 175 copies of that one.
That's wild. I think that's just one of those ones where people just, if they had any idea what a good filmmaker Mandico was, that would have been gone instantly.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the sort of short film thing going against it. I think people I don't know. It seems like it's a good bang for its buck because it's like 20 movies on there, but like, you would think that would attract people. And again, and like the thing we were sort of led off with is maybe there's a lot of people who are like, ugh, new movies, and that's just dumb because there are filmmakers like Mandico who are doing just as interesting stuff as filmmakers from any period. So.
I think that's just what I want to call out. Like, I'm a little skeptical about new movies. I get shit on Ryan's Discord for it if I go on Reconnected, which I should. I know it's a character flaw. I'm not presenting it as a strength. But Mandico reminds me of somebody that would be talked about as a canonical filmmaker if he had been making movies in the 60s and 70s.
I agree.
They're just phenomenal. Like they are classic. Like what he's doing is just unreal. So
yeah, so sort of someone you think will probably maybe be underappreciated during the time that he's most active. Yeah. And at some point, someone will discover how unique his work is.
Again, not to talk about something that's not Mondo Macabro, sorry, but have you seen She is Conan yet?
Not yet.
Just fucking like it's just like
yeah. Again, I'm as guilty of this as a lot of people. Like especially of like European stuff. Those are definitely that. Some of his other movies are definitely on my radar, and there's a lot of other stuff, like some weird French stuff that I want to see, but man, I just never get around to watching, especially European 21st century stuff. Because usually I am watching Asian stuff or sort of the bigger films that come out over here, like Sinners or something. It's just because I do love going to the movies. So and unfortunately, She Is Conan did not play at my local Regal. So I didn't get a chance to see it. But I should. I know. It looks fantastic. And Pete is a huge fan. Pete raved about that movie to me. So, really so I know it's something to see for sure.
Cool.
Well, this has all been great. Covered a lot of titles, covered a lot of information for the upcoming year. If anybody has any questions or comments on the episode, everywhere I always post this on social media, I see those comments and I try to bring stuff up in the next episode. So let us know. All three of us here are very receptive and want to hear what people think. It's always exciting because with such a varied catalog, you get varied opinions, and there are numerous people that have, either grown up on these or never even heard of it. And either way, we just love seeing people love the film. So it's always a good time.
Yeah, it's especially fun when it's new people who are sort of new to what we're doing, and it's fun that we're still getting those people.
Yeah,
it's still that there's still people, who maybe get attracted to one thing that we've put out, and then maybe they just go, "Ooh, Cafe Flesh, I've heard about this," and then it just hopefully opens up a whole world of weirdness that maybe they didn't know existed. So,
exactly. Well, it's always fun to see people discover the wild side. What a way to bookend it. Chris, Jared, thanks for your time today. Everybody else, make sure you subscribe and check out our past episodes. There's some really great conversations there. Thanks for everything. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description